He couldn't make it here, but he had this question. The DSA appears to be more of a white movement that focuses more on class than race. Mayor Mamdani focuses on race, but I don't feel welcomed by the DSA. How is Mayor Mamdani working to make the DSA have a better racial lens?
Well, first I would say thank you for the question. And I think that what I appreciate about it is criticism in good faith. And that's what we need more of in our politics. And I think, to me, one thing I've appreciated about New York City DSA is that it has been one of the engines behind the creation of a new generation of black and brown leadership, the likes we hadn't seen in quite some time. When I look at other elected officials who I ran alongside, and I'm thinking about in 2020, it was Jabari Brisport, it was Farrah Souffrant Forrest, it was Marcella Matenis. It was a number of us. And
that's where we messed up.
We see in every single cycle more and more of this new generation of leadership that isn't looking to rewrite history, but rather to honor the history that came before.
We have a lot of internal reckoning to do, but that it's important to see it through the lens of toxic white supremacy culture that is ingrained in this country's history, that racism is actually at the backbone of this history. And when people talk about Constitution, federalism, the rights of the people, we really have to take a step back and look at, how those rights have really only been offered up to a certain group.
Boo-hoo, whine and cry, racism. And now the Democrat Party is in absolute shambles. This DSA stuff, it's not working. They are feeling the effects of it. I don't think that they'll have a chance of winning any election anytime soon. I think this November, a lot of this stuff is going to be kicked to the curb because they're going to see it's not going to win an election. It's not going to win an election at all. Zero chance. Obviously, you got super far liberals and they're talking about, I don't feel welcomed by the DSA. It's communism. Nobody's welcomed by them. That's what you get from that. But we got a guy who is about to absolutely obliterate these people.
There is a lot to talk about when it comes to El Sayed in terms of his past statements, his present positions, all of that. Is it the right political strategy for Republicans to focus on his Muslim name, call him an Islamist, say he wants to institute?
Yeah, it's right to do that because we're not doing that. This is a Christian nation. And in a Muslim country, they would do the same thing to a Christian trying to get elected. We don't, but they don't have elections. We're not rocking with that. Yeah, we're going to make fun of his name. El Sayed, kaboom.
Sharia law versus actually just dealing with the actual policy that he supports.
I'm like an all of the above kind of person when it comes to this guy. He says, I'm not a socialist, not like those guys. I'm a capitalist. All I want to do is nationalize the healthcare industry, eliminate border control, and seize wealth, not to, use it for anything, but just to make the playing field fairer, but definitely not a communist. But yes, they can absolutely focus on what I regard as anti-Western ideals, like the notion that maybe he shouldn't celebrate the death of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei because his constituencies might be sad about that. Like the fact that he couldn't issue a condemnation, full-throated, unequivocal condemnation of an attempted terrorist attack on a Michigan synagogue that would have killed 140 Jewish children without condemning Israel in the very same sentence. And like the fact that he pals around with Hassan Piker, who he can't condemn, but who has said the United States deserved 9/11 and maybe people should murder Senator Rick Scott. Now, he said he apologized for that, but only because he was kicked off social media for saying you should kill a sitting Republican office holder. All of that is fair game. This guy's a very damaged candidate.
And the father-in-law, one of the biggest donors to the campaign and the biggest boosters, is a founding member of an organization that has been investigated for funneling money to the Muslim Brotherhood on the way to Hamas. I mean, these are really crazy, crazy things, and I think it's fair to ask.
And not to mention, Mamdani's people were meeting with Iran. I feel like that didn't get talked about enough. That was one of the craziest things I've ever heard. And my video that I did on that didn't really get a lot of views. I was genuinely shocked and confused by that. We have the mayor of the biggest city in the United States of America who is already Muslim, so I already don't like him. Not because he's Muslim, but because we should not have Muslim leaders in a Christian nation. But he's meeting with the country we're at war with? He has people scheduling meetings with the country we're at war with, and we just let it blow over? That should not have blown over. Everyone should be very, very alarmed by that.
On the way to Hamas. I mean, these are really crazy, crazy things, and I think it's fair to ask questions about all of them, just like you would someone Trump's campaigning with, just like anyone is campaigning with. We would all say scrutinize them, and that's what this is.
It's beyond fair. It would be unfair not to criticize these people and not to look into these people. We got people doing these Muslims, bro. I don't trust them. I don't. Call me an Islamophobe. Call me all the phobes. Don't trust Muslim leaders. I do not. Not in a Christian nation. Now, in Saudi Arabia, you got the chill Muslims. In Dubai, you got the chill Muslims. But in Iran and in Iraq, we know the answer to that.
Democrats are facing a dilemma, and Michigan's primary perfectly illustrated it. Abdul El-Sayed, the charismatic progressive, defeated Representative Haley Stevens, the establishment-backed moderate. The energy was unquestionably with El-Sayed. But a Washington Post analysis finds his support was concentrated in the state's most educated counties and college towns. Stevens, the moderate, did better in many rural and lower income.
That's my point. That is my point. These people who think they're super smart, they are indoctrinated by these colleges. These colleges are a problem. This is a bigger problem than also gets credit for. The colleges pushing this super woke anti-Western stuff is a problem. Anti-Christian stuff, this is a problem. That's why what's the most attended university right now? Don't quote me on that, but I'm pretty sure one of the most attended universities is Liberty, a Christian school, because they're not indoctrinating their students with anti-Christian, anti-Western stuff.
So you see, the left has the passion, but the middle still has the votes the Democrats need to win in general elections. The progressive answer is that Democrats can solve this by becoming more economically populist, attacking billionaires, expanding benefits, and thus appealing to the working class. But these ideas don't appeal to the actual working class. Among Democrats, a Pew survey shows 41% of college graduates say they like politicians who call themselves democratic socialists, compared with only 26% of those without degrees. Upper-income Democrats are also much more favorable toward democratic socialists than...
I'm sorry to pause it again, guys, but it's these uppity people. It's these uppity people who think that they're better than somebody because they make more money or because they have a fancier degree and they just got indoctrinated and went into millions of dollars of debt. That is what it is, these uppity folks. And they're the ones who are like, oh, we care about the marginalized communities. The poor people are not rocking with this BS. A man up in Michigan who was getting up, going to the steel mill with a lunchbox every morning, coming home to drink beer, is not rocking with socialism. And there's a lot of them dudes, especially up there in Michigan and all that, the Rust Belt. Man, them dudes is tough up there. They're not rocking with this.
Toward democratic socialists than lower income Democrats, 40% to 24%. Democrats have spent years dreaming of a working class restoration. Joe Biden mounted the largest effort to court them with economics in decades. His administration poured hundreds of billions of dollars into infrastructure, factories, clean energy, and semiconductors, much of it flowing to Republican counties. Yet in the next election, 2024, Donald Trump won voters without college degrees and those earning less than $50,000, while making gains among working class Hispanic and Black voters. You see, over the last 30 years, the Democrats have moved left on economics consistently. Obama was to the left of Clinton, and Biden was to the left of Obama.
Right.
And in that same period, the working class has steadily abandoned the party. The lesson is not that economics don't matter, but the Democratic Party's problem is not that it is seen as too centrist on economics. Democrats routinely lead Republicans on issues like health care and even now the cost of living. Their liabilities are cultural and social issues, crime, immigration, the border, and the so-called woke agenda. One example, according to Pew, 43% of voters agree with Republicans on crime policy, while only 29% agree with Democrats.
Boom.
When Democrats come under pressure, they find it much easier to move left on economics than toward the center on culture. If they could speak plainly and say that the border must be controlled.
This dude is spitting right now. I told y'all we had a dude for y'all today. He is spitting. Fareed Zakaria. This guy's smart. He is articulating this extremely well. Wow, I'm loving this.
If they could speak plainly and say that the border must be controlled, repeat offenders punished, standards of merit defended, or that biological sex matters, they risk revolts from activists, advocacy groups, and highly educated staffers.
Right.
So instead, Democrats offer a larger subsidy, a new benefit, or a fiercer attack on billionaires, while leaving untouched the cultural attitudes that are actually alienating many voters. The evidence suggests that this strategy is backwards. One study tested Democratic shifts across 29 policy issues and found that the largest electoral gains tended to come from moving toward the middle on social and cultural questions. Another report found that working class voters placed far more emphasis than liberal college graduates on securing the border, reducing crime, and adding police. Liberal college graduates placed far more emphasis on resisting authoritarianism, protecting trans rights, climate change, and abortion. The divide widened not because working class voters simply lurched to the right, but rather that college-educated Democrats moved left further and faster.
Right.
In 2000, according to an analysis by American politics scholar Nicholas Jacobs, only about 8% of both Democrats and working class voters favored increasing immigration. By 2020, 48% of Democrats did, compared with 24% of working class voters. A 3-point gap over abortion in 1980 became a 30-point gap by 2024.
They love
Large
abortion.
gaps also opened up over religion, family, and trust in government not to waste taxpayer dollars. Trump understands the political force of this estrangement. Listen to what he rails against in his campaign rallies: transgender athletes, DEI bureaucracies, elite universities, crime.
That's so real, because one of the best commercials I saw during the election was Kamala is for they, them. Transgenders and all that. I'm telling y'all, I said this on here. Guys, I'm getting good. I said this, guys. That is where they lost every normal thinking human. Transgenders, furries. You gonna vote for furries? As a grown-ass man, you gonna vote for furries. That and transgenderism. I'm telling you, they lost people with those things. But they can't speak against it because they'll lose all their people. See, now they're dying on this hill that's going to completely eliminate their party. That's why I keep saying this is not even good for the Republicans, because the Democrats are so bad, so stupid, that people are just going to come to the right and the Republicans don't have to do anything for the people because they're going to win anyways. It's an automatic dub. I would literally probably bet my entire net worth right now that whoever is the next president will be a Republican, for sure. Just because of this stuff right here. People don't care about Iran. People don't care about none of that. This transgender stuff, it is just so stupid and idiotic and radically far left that no normal thinking, especially man, will rock with this ever. And then the women too. So we're gonna have men in my bathrooms, in the locker rooms. Then they have the gay parades, and you got grown men running out there with their wiener out around kids. And I'm supposed to vote for that? I'm telling you, bro, they lost every normal thinking person.
Trump understands the political force of this estrangement. Listen to what he rails against in his campaign rallies: transgender athletes, DEI bureaucracies, elite universities, crime, and an out-of-control border.
There's never been a border in the world like this.
He knows that these issues hit voters in their gut. The answer is not for Democrats to imitate Trump, abandon minorities, or become reactionary. It is to stop imagining that Medicare for all and wealth taxes will restore the New Deal coalition. That world and that coalition are gone. The good news is that the party already has a formidable modern coalition. College-educated voters, women, minorities, younger Americans, and many working and middle-class voters in metropolitan America. These voters want not a socialist revolution, but effective liberal government that delivers affordable housing, good schools, accessible healthcare, safe streets, a controlled border, legal immigration, and economic growth. And perhaps this will
They
help
don't want none of
Democrats
that.
to make inroads with the rest of the working class again, too. Democrats just need to show culturally moderate voters that liberalism can distinguish compassion from permissiveness, openness from...
Nah, I don't think they can. I think they're too far gone. I think they're way too extreme. All those things you just said, border, safe streets, no Democrats want that. They love crime. They love illegal immigration. They love murdering kids in the womb. They love these things. They do. And they want to see America burn because they hate it here. So they're going to vote for anything that's anti-American. That's why when we saw that CNN poll, they said they are not proud to be American. They think it's wrong to fly an American flag. They lost probably even more people with that right there. Because if you're not proud to be on this team, if you are not rocking with the team, why would we listen to you on how to run this team? Make that make sense to me. It will never. I'm not rocking with this. People are like, man, you know, I'm in the middle. That's the easy thing to say. Everybody, oh wow, you're soft. You're scared to pick a side. Sorry, keep it 100. You got right and you got left. There ain't no middle to me. You can be centrist in your policies, but when that election comes, if you vote right, you on the right. If you vote left, you on the left. Sorry, that's what it is. Keeping it real. Like, comment, subscribe. Gone.